Welcome back. In this video, I'll discuss some pre-law school planning and the biggest fears shared by incoming students. You might be wondering, what the heck should I be doing to get ready for law school? The answer is a lot, but not the things you're probably thinking of. The most important preparation has nothing to do with law school per se. It involves getting your life in order and developing a proper mindset. Your first year will be all-consuming. You need to arrive ready and able to focus on just one thing, law school. Spend the summer before clearing the deck of all potential distractions. When school starts and your classmates are struggling to understand Pennoyer v. Neff, you can't afford to be scrambling around looking for a roommate or firming up your financial aid. Take care of business in advance. The book version of One 'Ell of a Ride offers a list of tangible pre-law school to-do items. Here I'll mention 3 intangibles, which are just as important, but often overlooked. Number 1 is to approach law school like a full-time job. Accept that law school is going to be marked by long, sometimes tedious hours. Don't fight it. To be successful, you have to go all in. Suppose instead of law school, you accepted a career-type job, one offering substantial rewards for good performance and the possibility of getting canned for poor performance. Would you show up late for work? Browse the web during meetings? Arrive unprepared to meet with your boss? Stay out late partying when you know you have to get up early for work? Hopefully your answer to each question is no. Treat law school the same way. If you approach law school like a full-time job, you'll already be charting a path toward success. Now, if your answer to any of those questions was yes, that's a whole other chat we need to have. Number 2, expect and embrace uncertainty. Much of the law is indefinite. Students who fixate on searching for the answer to every legal question will drive both themselves and their professors insane. Arrive open to the idea that the best response to many legal questions is a range of possibilities, almost always dependent on the facts of the particular case, rather than absolute right or wrong answers. Law school's signature, frustrating answer to most legal questions is, it depends. Embrace uncertainty. Finally, define success for yourself, literally. Start a sentence that says, my definition of success in law school is, and finish the sentence. If it's more than one thing, make a list. For most students, success means achieving at a high academic level. That's a good goal. But it's important to know that grades are by no means the only measure of success in law school. Exploration, enlightenment, justice-seeking, well-being, building relationships, becoming a professional. There are many components of success. Revisit your definition as you progress through law school. If you notice it changing, stop and ask why. Law school has a sneaky way of substituting its values for one's personal values. Be careful not to let that happen. Let's shift gears. Do you have fears about law school? I'll share a secret with you. Let's keep it between us. I was terrified as a 1L. What I didn't realize was that everyone else was too. I've surveyed thousands of incoming students over the years about their biggest law school fears. Guess what? Their answers are the same today as when I started teaching during the Nixon administration. No, I'm not quite that old. Almost. 5 common fears shared by new students are failure, not understanding the material, the Socratic method, interference with outside relationships, and the workload. These days, many students are also worried about the job market and loan debt. Those are certainly legitimate concerns, but here we'll stick to actual law school fears. Failure is the most commonly expressed fear. I have good news. Flunking out of law school happens, but not nearly as often as people worry about. Nationwide, the first-year attrition rate for academic reasons is only around 5%. More well-founded than the fear of flunking out is the fear, also common, of not living up to one's own high personal expectations. Law schools are full of high achievers. You're not the only one. If you come to law school expecting A's or to be in the top 10% of your class, you're likely to be disappointed. At most law schools, A's are scarce, and due to a sticking point called math, since the dawn of legal education, 90% of students don't finish in the top 10%. The happy news is it doesn't take A's to be an excellent law student and successful lawyer. Many of the most impactful lawyers in America were C students. I love this. One law school has a nice basketball court built for students bearing a plaque donated by a C student. A related fear is not understanding the material. Students often worry that everyone in the class will get it except for them. I'm pleased to report that this fear is also overblown. At the beginning, the law naturally seems impenetrable because it's a complete unknown. Some of the first cases you read will confirm your worst fears because many courses start out with moldy oldies written in opaque Old English. In addition to the law itself, students have to learn a new language of legalese and intricate systems of procedures. But take heart that the learning curve, while steep, is climbed quickly. One of my favorite parts of teaching 1Ls is watching their satisfaction, even joy, as the light bulbs start to go on, as students realize, hey, I really can understand this stuff. I really can learn the law. Another common fear is the Socratic method of teaching. For some reason, students are not in love with the idea of being interrogated by their professors in front of all their peers. Go figure. We'll cover the Socratic method in a separate video. For now, suffice it to say that the Socratic method has changed a lot over the years and should be at the very bottom of your worries. Another often expressed concern is the impact of law school on outside relationships, particularly partners. This is a legitimate concern, so much so that I wrote an entire book on the subject, the companion text to law school, Understanding and Surviving Life with a Law Student. Law school can cause conflicts in relationships for a variety of reasons. The all-consuming nature of law school can leave loved ones feeling neglected. Law students develop a new circle of friends, all tightly bonded by a world only they understand, which can cause partners to feel excluded or jealous. Students are almost guaranteed to drive their loved ones mad with nonstop talking and griping about the law in law school. The law students' lack of employment revenue and rising loan debt can cause money issues, one of the principal sources of conflict in relationships. Law school trains students to be argumentative and overly analytical, which can bleed over into the relationships. The list could go on. Fortunately, you have control over most of these things. Communicate. Don't talk about law school all the time. Encourage your partner to get to know your law school friends. Be as frugal as possible if you're living on borrowed money. That goes for everyone. And don't turn every conversation into an argument before the Supreme Court. I still do it sometimes, instinctively, never with good results. Make time for those dear to you, and use that time as a break from law school, not as a continuation of it. Don't take your family and outside friends for granted. You're going to need their love and support. Last, but certainly not least, many students list the workload as their biggest concern. This one is the real deal. Most students who do not succeed in law school at a high level simply weren't prepared to adjust to the rigor of the workload. Because of the Socratic and case methods of teaching, students have to spend hours preparing for each class. In a single night, you may have to read and analyze 10 complex judicial opinions. Most professors expect students to compose a written summary of each assigned case. Because of the volume of the material and the single exam format, most students also prepare extensive outlines for each course. Falling behind is the kiss of death in law school. You can't catch up. No, really, you can't catch up. The key is to develop and implement a consistent, organized, and efficient approach to staying on top of things from day one. Pay close attention to the Credo video, where I explain the top 5 habits of successful law students. Hey, law school's sounding pretty great so far, don't you think? Don't let anything we say frighten you away. Despite the stress and workload, studies show high levels of student satisfaction with law school. A survey administered after a recent bar exam found that 90% of participants gave an A or B grade to the quality of their law school experience. 90%. Only 1% gave law school a grade of D. At the end of the first year, I asked students whether law school was better or worse than they expected. Most say it was harder, but better. I like this answer. I love law school. I love the material, the professors, and my classmates. Law school is definitely more challenging than I ever anticipated, but that's what makes it great. If it were easy, I can say in all honesty that I would be disappointed. It's supposed to be hard because it means something. I wouldn't have it any other way. Hopefully, you'll end up feeling similarly.